We got Purgatory. This is going to make sense later. This is the tag division. Tag title holders, we're going to get to that. The US Intercontinental scene, US IC holders, world title scene, world title holders. Red background, Raw, blue background, SmackDown, men, women. I got to split like this for a reason. So, as it stands, this is kind of currently how the WWE has everything set up. I've made a couple changes, and we're going to go over that right now. So in Purgatory, what does Purgatory mean? Purgatory, I call it Purgatory because this is basically the people that kind of linger. They don't necessarily belong to any division as far as contending for a belt. So they could be used kind of anywhere. Danhausen, backstage comedy skits. Joe Hendry, singing. Paige, she is a tag champ right now, but I put her here myself. That's one of the changes I made. I'll explain it later. AJ Lee's also here. Maxine Dupri's here. Kit Wilson for the same reason as Danhausen you get at The Miz because he ain't won a match in like 3,000 years. And then El Grande because he's kind of just doing stuff in AAA. But watch this. This is the most important thing. This is the biggest problem. This is what's leading to the problem that WWE has right now. And there's no way they don't know this. But their actions don't match the fact that there's a problem. Essentially, they don't want to fix the problem. They want to make some weird scenario where they can save, I guess, money as to not have enough people to fill a pool of a division to make things work, essentially. Like, watch this. So in the world title scene, it's not so bad. Raw, for the men, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people to contend with that could go for this belt. SmackDown has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Also, I put Shinsuke here, so it's actually less, unless I dropped somebody that isn't. But as you can see, already SmackDown is suffering. But now let's look at the women's division, because this is where shit gets crazy. So, women on Raw, again, I think I moved a couple of these people, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put Lyra up here, so that's, anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, shallow pool. Now let's look at SmackDown, which is even worse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put Blake Monroe here. Tiffany's US champion. Charlotte is hanging around Alexa. Rhea's got the belt. And then Jade, I don't know if she's going to go for a rematch or what, but the point is, when you have only 7 people, in this case, it might not be the exact numbers, take that and then divide it again to account for heel versus babyface is another problem. So then now you got to go in half. You're losing all these matchups because your division doesn't have enough people. Now, in my opinion, when it comes to the roster that you have, I would say you either got to stop fucking around with 2 brands or you got to stop pussying out of not doing babyface versus babyface. Because I get why people wouldn't want to see heel versus heel. But I even be seeing people cry when it's babyface versus babyface. That's nowhere near as bad. If you can't decide between 2 babyfaces who you would rather win or who you want to root for, that's on you. Heel versus heel I get, because that will just kill the vibe, unless they're both like cool heels or something. But there are situations, as we're seeing with Trick and Sami Zayn, where you don't have to hard commit to those roles. Trick is essentially the heel. Now it's becoming Sami, but that was in progress. So it's not, again, you can be a lot more flexible than you act. So what are we going to do here? We're going to fix this. Let's look at the tag division, because tag division is crazy. Raw, I put Penta here, because without him, you only got the Creed brothers, so that's one team. Ivar and Eric, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wild, who they barely want to use. You got these Bravo and Rayo or whatever. The Usos, Otis and Tozawa. That's not a pool. Obviously, they got rid of Motor City Machine Guns, who was needed in this context, like I was saying. They got rid of people, and the division that they took from is feeling it. So based on what we have, the only way we could fix this, if they wanted to, is you'd have to do this. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way. Now you can look at these tiers as where I put people. So these are my placements. And the first thing I would do to fix this shit, let's start with the tag division. You gotta merge that shit. Get rid of the brand split tag belts. These guys gotta float. Or you gotta get rid of the tag division altogether as a division. You can still have tag matches, but again, have one set of belts. And if you're a tag champion, that is not going to stop you or anybody in the tag team. Let's use, like you might notice that Montez and Dawkins are up here in the US IC title scene. They could still tag. They could still hold belts. But I put them up here just for the sake of right now. But for these guys down here, let's say Penta. Penta's IC champion right now. He could be double champ in the form of he can be the Intercontinental holder and still compete in the tag team division for the sake of Rey Fenix. Being in a tag team should not stop you from being able to do solo stuff too with the state of the current roster and what it's in right now. That's how you would have to do things. So Julius Creed. Also, I'd move Phoenix. Phoenix is on SmackDown, but I put him up here because I would move him to Raw for this. So now that we've merged the brands down here or made it eligible for people from each brand to jump over to compete on whatever show, now we get this whole pool. So we get the men all the way up to here. Oh, sorry. So now we get the men all the way up to here for the tag division. And then we got these women, which the women's tag division down here is still weak as hell. And there's no one from Raw. Even in this situation, it's still shallow as hell. You could almost get rid of the women's tag division altogether, in my opinion. You shouldn't. Really, you should just call people up. But whether or not who's ready. But as you can see, this is a huge problem that's happening currently. But let's skip the tag division for now. Let's move up. Oh, actually, wait. Let me place this here. So for the sake of this, tag title holders. So out of this pool, I'm going to drag up the people who I think could contend. And with the rest of this year left, because this is a 2026 roster list, I was going to make this for the next 5-year span, but the way how they be releasing people every year, there's no point even looking that far ahead. So for the rest of the 7 months that we have left in the year or whatever, I'll put a good 3 to 6 people up in the title holder division, meaning anybody in these tiers is who I would put the belt on at some point with the rest of the year that we have left. So I would make the Lucha Brothers champion at some point. I would get rid of this freaking Grande gimmick, give it to the Creed Brothers. Usos have already had it. Maybe I can factor that in and count that. So basically, they've already had it. And then with 7 months left, these two teams could get a reign for this year. And because it's only for this year, I might fuck around and give these guys that too. So, okay, yeah, let's not confuse things. Let's put these guys back down since they've already had it. So 3 teams in a merged division with 7 months left. And then, of course, you make the best storylines possible that you can for each of these teams. And as soon as it starts to taper off or get stale, that's when you end it, and then the next people can have their turn. Now, again, for the women's division, that's going to be hard, because who could we call up? They've screwed themselves so hard here. To be honest, it's either going to be one dominant reign from them. Well, they've already done it, though. Like, this requires more fixing, obviously, but for the sake of right now, we'll put Fatal Influence as, like, the dominant team to carry for the bulk of the rest of the year. And then we'll pretend some new call-ups saved us. But let's move up, because this division's just doomed. But up here, this is where you can actually fix things, and they just don't. So, Berto, he was part of the tag team division with, is Angel here? Yeah, there he is. I took him away. They've already done stuff down in AAA, but I already kind of addressed this in another video. Berto is a crazy in-ring talent that you just have wasting away. This guy should absolutely hit both of them. This is a case, so this is the thing. If these guys' contracts expired and they went to AEW and were given a chance, you would see the night and day difference of how the WWE fumbled these guys. Now, it doesn't take that for me to see the wasted potential. That's why I got them up here. You could absolutely give Berto or Angel a run with this belt. So this division, who do we got? Berto, Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, the current champion, Solo Sikoa, Sami Zayn, Ronald Killings, Matt Cardona, Johnny Gargano, Angelo Dawkins. Now, I already made a video on this. I might link it or whatever. But it's the reason why both profits are up here, because you could split them. In this context, they are... No. In this context, they're not a team anymore. They do have beef. But I already set up the whole storyline on how I would execute that whole thing. So if you want to hear more details on that, you can just watch that video. But who, with 7 months left, would I make the US or IC title holders? Dawkins. I think I forget what brand I put him on in the video. I think I had him on Raw, but we'll just keep them how they are. Based on this layout, it looks like I was putting Montez on Raw instead. So we keep Angelo on SmackDown. We move... Wait, Montez was just on Raw. Did they move them already? Anyways, so you split them up. One goes after the US, the other goes after the Intercontinental. So I could probably put 6 people here because 2 different belts. I'd give Berto a run. Trick Williams already has it, so I'm not gonna... And so does Carmelo. Ethan Page, Rey Mysterio. I'll explain that in a second. Again, this is just for 2026, or at least up until next Mania season. So I guess we do got more months to work with. So we'll look at it like that. So Dawkins, Montez, Berto, Ethan Page, Dominic Mysterio, only because Rey's going to have it first. And then at next Mania, I would have it so that Rey can retire with Dominic finally beating him. That's the only reason why I got Dominic up here again. So that's for the men's division. And that's 3 SmackDown, 3 Raw. For the women, I finally give Ivy Nile her overdue. So that's 1. That's an easy pick for this championship tier. Whatever you think Ivy Nile doesn't have, which is probably like character work and like yeah, basically just the character work. If I was a part of creative, I could easily fix that. She can speak, but it's just like it's more so the dialogue in which they have some of these people saying that makes them sound cringe than it is them just speaking. But anyways, so Ivy Nile. I'd finally give Mia Yim one. Not gonna lie, Zarya is badass. Zarya's gonna get one. She's probably gonna have the most dominant run once I do get to her. Oh, she was one of the call ups, by the way. I got a few call ups if you notice here. Saquon Sugars, Kendall Gray, Zarya. That's who I would call up. That isn't yet. So Ivy, Zarya, Mia Yim. I guess I'd put Zarya on Raw. So one more female Raw pick. I don't necessarily have to do one more, but I think this works out. I will put Sol Ruka. And then these two could, I don't know if they want to revisit the feud, whatever it takes, but that's my 3 pick for the women for Raw. So we got Mia Yim for SmackDown. Who else? Kendall Gray. I know that seems pretty quick, but it's just a mid card belt. I don't think that's too crazy as far as like if you look at how fast they gave Lyra Valkyria a belt, and it was the freaking upon the birth of this division altogether. So Kendall Gray, Mia Yim, and again under the same principle, I let Candice finally have hers because she's another one who's been going at it in the ring forever and is way better than most people probably know. So with all these people now sitting up here with the rest of the year into next Mania season, you can still see that there's a healthy number of people here left to make many matchup combinations with all these people up here. So you shouldn't struggle with whether it's storylines or whatever, or interactions. And again, that's only for this year. So anyone who isn't here now, like Javon, he can get it next year. Same with JD McDonough. You get the point. It's more so division structuring that needs to be done than anything. But again, like I was talking about earlier before, they want to typecast half these people as jobbers that they're never going to do anything with when they happen to be a super good talent in ring, like a Berto, as I was saying. So now let's move up to the world title division. Bronson Reed, Roman Reigns, Gunther, Finn Balor, Braun Breaker, Obafemi, Logan Paul. Now I know some people some people are going to see this and think this is crazy. Let me tell you about Logan Paul. If Braun Breaker's here, again, let me preface this by saying this. This is WWE. If Braun Breaker's here, then you can more easily finish. Like, if I didn't know, and I look at Braun Breaker, and I look at Logan Paul, I would say Logan Paul belongs here more than Braun Breaker. But of course, Braun Breaker is a wrestler, and Logan Paul kind of just showed up a few years ago or whatever. But that's based off of look. The thing that WWE fans seem to care about most. And again, he's shown that he's not, like, he's good enough to hang or whatever. So I don't think it's too crazy to have him here. Obafemi, LA Knight, Seth Rollins, Sheamus, CM Punk. That's the men. Then you got Bailey, Raquel, Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria. I moved up. Stephanie Vaquer. Julia, I was talking about my other video. I move her up to match Vaquer because that's how it should have been. But anyways, Becky Lynch, I bring her back up here from the IC scene. Liv Morgan. And then you got the men from SmackDown. Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. I move up Ilya Dragunov, Royce Keys, Jacob Fatu. I move up Shinsuke, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Blake Monroe. I guess I put her straight into here because I've seen her work in AEW. She can absolutely be here. And Tiffany Stratton, I get the United States Championship off her and return her up to here. So, okay, so I guess we got 12 months to work with if we're talking about next Mania season. So either way, I'm still going to put like only 3 or 4 people up here. So who from this division will be a title holder with the time that we have left leading up into next Mania season? Roman Reigns has it now, so I'm not going to include him. I guess let's play into the fact. This isn't necessarily me, but we're going to play into the fact that they're probably going to give Jacob the belt next. So let's just say he makes it up here. So Jacob Fatu will hold it. They kind of painted himself into a corner with Obafemi, but Jacob Fatu, SmackDown. Well, I guess he'd be Raw if he took this belt off him because SmackDown's Cody Rhodes. So who takes it off of Jacob? WWE would probably never do this, but I'm going to go Bronson Reed. And then who takes it off Bronson? I know what I'm going to do. Okay, we'll have Obafemi. So this is Raw. Obafemi ends up the year, or let's say Jacob Fatu takes it off Roman, holds it for a few months. Bronson takes it off of Jacob, and then Oba takes it off of Bronson at next Mania. Now, of course, on paper, this sounds crazy to some people because people are going to think like, oh, How is this going to sell tickets for their next Mania? You build up the story good enough to establish names. You're going to have to do that at some point. Let's just start now. You people aren't going to stop watching the product anyway, so you may as well take more risks. So this is Raw. Now, SmackDown. Cody Rhodes with his gate kept ass belt. He is champion, right? Oh, no, he's not. Wait, who's champ right now on SmackDown? Is it Cody? My brain's messed up because I thought Orton was going to win it. Yeah, he's the champion. Okay. So Cody has it right now. Let me tell you what we're going to do. I could troll here, but let me see first. I would have had Orton beat Cody already, but they already messed up that story, so to revisit it now, I don't even want to mess with it. I don't even care anymore. Okay, here's what we do. I think I figured it out. You move Seth Rollins to SmackDown. He wins the W belt off of him. Hold up. Wait. Okay, so here's the thing. So I'm debating LA Knight. The reason why I'm debating LA Knight is because this guy's about like one banana peel away from slipping his last time before I switch off of this guy. He slipped one too many times. He's losing aura points every time this happens. And it's getting hard to defend. At the time of this video, this guy's disappeared. I don't know what's happening with LA Knight right now. But this guy's, he's got a hill to climb on his comeback. That's all I can say. Okay, you know what? Here's a better idea. Jacob Fatu gets it. Bronson, because I forgot to think in terms of heel and face also. Bronson takes it off of Jacob. LA Knight wins Money in the Bank. Uses it to beat Bronson Reed. Goes on a little bit of a run and beats a few people from down here. And then Oba shows up for next Mania's build. And then we just hope to God that there's no banana peels in the vicinity or in the venue when these two go at it. But Obafemi leaves Mania victorious. So that's that. So that's 4 people from Raw. That's already kind of a little bit much, but because of the Money in the Bank, I think you could probably make it work. So now SmackDown. Cody has the belt. Who takes it off of Cody? I think I'm only going to go like 2 swaps here. So we'll have... I know what I'll do. Strap in for this one because it's going to be low-key controversial. So... Wait, I'm just deciding if I actually want to do this. I'm making sure. Okay, so we're not revisiting Orton versus Cody at this point. They already messed that up. That's on them. They're not storytellers, as they say they are. Anyhow, okay, so I low-key want to see this feud. So we're going to have CM Punk move to SmackDown, fight Cody for the championship, win it. The title reign isn't going to be long because then Seth Rollins is also going to move to SmackDown and take it off of CM Punk. Hear me out. The reason why I'm doing this is because of the belt. This is gonna make sense in a second. The reason why I'm doing this is because of the belt itself. So CM Punk takes it off of Cody Rhodes. Seth Rollins, I have taken off of CM Punk, even though they already had their little thing. But the only reason why I'm doing this is so that you could right this fucking wrong here. Then you take Finn's ass over to SmackDown and you finally give him the belt that he never got another chance at ever since this guy injured him. This is the wrong that we're going to right. Same matchup, Finn wins this time and becomes champion of the main belt. Yes, I said it. Demon entrance, whatever. It doesn't have to be demon form. It could be base form for all I care. He wins the belt. That's right. 2 transitional champions to correct history. And then you take a couple of SmackDown guys and move them back to Raw. No. In seriousness, I won't sacrifice Seth for that. Instead, CM Punk takes it off of Cody, rebuilds Shinsuke. Again, this sounds crazy because of how they've been treated so far. But the important part here is that you actually rebuild them up, and I think it's going to be believable. We've seen him had a good match with AJ Styles before he left. This guy could still go. He could be taken seriously. They just don't do it. So, CM Punk gets the belt off of Cody. Naruto versus Sasuke. Shinsuke comes in, beats CM Punk. And then Finn, on some Bullet Club shit or whatever, fights Shinsuke, becomes champion, and gets it once and for all. This reign could be short because he just had a run with the other belts. This can have a few decent matchups just to say that he's got at least one in his career before he hangs it up. And then Finn gets his that he should have rightfully had a long time ago. Now for the women's side of things. Oh, this is easy. Raquel, who's champ right now? Is it Liv? Raquel takes it off Liv. Has a pretty dominant run. I don't think we need to do too many changes here. Okay, I think I figured it out. Raquel goes on a dominant reign. Then Io Sky comes along, wins it, but only for long enough so that Julia can move to Raw and we get this matchup. And then Julia wins it off of Io. Again, it's weird because they've already kind of fucked around Julia enough to where she's low-key kind of ruined, and it might take a little bit longer of a build up to restore that or restore where she should be. But under the context that she should be on the same level as Valkyria, and we've seen that they are on the same level, they shouldn't be crazy or seen as crazy. Valkyria's injured right now. Okay, so this is the Raw side of things. Now for SmackDown, who's SmackDown right now? Oh, Rhea. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Okay, so who beats Rhea? So this is the division that needed the most help because they didn't. I guess they didn't want to keep the belt on Jade. They panicked and then just made the safe pick of putting it on Rhea right now. So obviously, realistically, she's probably gonna have the belt for a while. But who's left here? Valkyria can probably. Actually, no. You keep Valkyria so that these two can still benefit off of each other, like I was saying before. Low key, Lara could probably go to SmackDown, but if she beat Rhea, people would cry. See, this is the problem when you ignore people for so long and you don't build them up properly. Okay, I think I figured it out. You have so Rhea's champion. You have Tiffany beat Rhea, and because of the problem that they have with the women's roster on SmackDown, Tiffany can hold it for a while. Hold up. I know that sounds crazy, but you do it for the sole purpose of building up Blake Monroe so that you get this matchup. And then Blake takes it off of Tiffany. Now, it's not going to be no Mariah May versus Toni Storm, but it could be kind of the same idea. Two blondes going at it, both pretty girl shit, whatever the fuck. And then Blake becomes champion. They seem to have no problem like putting the world title on NXT call-ups on the women's side of things that quickly, because I guess they take the women's scene less seriously, so they're like willing to take more risks. But yeah, that's how I would do that. But yeah, I guess then this division could just go to hell. This is low-key pretty hard to fix, but I wouldn't, if it was me, I wouldn't have been in this situation in the first place. My creative would have been good enough to where you probably wouldn't have to release 20,000 people every year under the pretense or the guise that people aren't working out or people aren't doing a good job. Ugh. My freaking brain hurts trying to fix Triple H's mess.